Hello, my name is Aaron May. I'm here at the Columbus Blue Jackets versus Ottawa Senators game here on St. Paddy's Day, and you're watching Post to Post.
Hello and welcome to Post to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. What a crazy night last night was. We had an elimination. We had a game go to overtime again. We had just a very exciting night of hockey. But first, before I get into anything, I want to address something. I just got a tweet. Well, I just read the tweet. They sent it 9 hours ago. I only read it now. At Post to Post Show. This is from Pulsar Smash. At Post to Post Show. Still think we don't deserve a hockey team? And then quoting the Vegas Golden Knights Twitter saying that we're going to round 2. So they said, still think we don't deserve a hockey team? When have I ever said that the Vegas Golden Knights don't deserve a hockey team? The most I've said that's even remotely close to that is that Quebec deserves a team more than Vegas, and that was a year and a half ago, basically. And I still believe it. So I never once said that Vegas didn't deserve a hockey team. In fact, if you go to the beginning of this season, 7 games into this season, I made a video about the Vegas Golden Knights, if they're legit or not. And in the video, I said they are. Like, if you've watched the channel for any amount of time recently, in the past 10 months, or 8 months, once the season started, once like the preseason was here, all that stuff, you'll know how much I've enjoyed the Vegas Golden Knights. So for someone to say that is extremely frustrating, because clearly they don't watch the channel, or if they did, it was a year and a half ago when I said that Quebec deserved a team more, and then they assumed that I said that the Vegas Golden Knights didn't deserve a team. So that's very frustrating to receive a tweet like that. And I'm not triggered, I promise. I love the internet. Anyway, the games last night. Oh man, I'm angry. Okay, so the Vegas Golden Knights eliminated the Los Angeles Kings. I wore the Kings hat here in honor, because for a series that was a sweep, it was the closest competitive series that ended up in a sweepage that I've ever seen. But the game last night, Fleury was unreal. LA just couldn't score. They had a ton of opportunities in the first period. They had a really, really strong first period. I did predict that LA would win. It was a close game, but obviously Vegas did win. Vegas just defends so well. I mean, it doesn't matter what line is out there. It really doesn't matter what line is out there. They can defend against any single line. They can attack with any line. They're good in their defensive end. They're good in the neutral zone. They're good in the offensive zone. They're good on the power play, cycling the puck. I noticed if anywhere on their penalty kill, they do make some mistakes, but Fleury's always there to save them from those mistakes. So it's pretty impressive. The Kings didn't really get any offensive help from their defensive end. They have one of the most skilled defensive cores in the National Hockey League, and there was nothing this series. There's nothing. And I don't necessarily blame them, because they're playing Vegas and Marc-Andre Fleury, who is Fort Knox, basically, at the moment. The team just defends so well. I don't necessarily blame the Los Angeles Kings defense core for not contributing offensively, but they were non-existent. They have to take some of the blame. But they still did play pretty well. That's the thing about this series. Usually when a team gets eliminated, or definitely if a team gets swept, you say some pretty bad things about the team that got swept, because obviously they must not be good, right? But I can't really say that about the Los Angeles Kings, because I felt like they played pretty well. They just couldn't score. And this team, just think about it. Think about how well Jonathan Quick played. If the team had just two goal scorers, or two more offensive threats, that they maybe could have scored 1 or 2 more goals this series, it could be completely different. Like, that's the thing. If they had those players in front of Jonathan Quick, just a little more offensive help, this team could win the Stanley Cup. Like, Jonathan Quick is that good. He's that dialed in right now. I feel so bad for him. It's a shame that has been eliminated from the playoffs, because I've never seen, I can't say that. I've obviously seen better goalie performances, but it's up there. It's like he was amazing. I've said it the entire time since the playoffs started. So disappointed that I don't get to see more from Jonathan Quick, but very excited for Vegas to move on to the second round. I don't want to talk a lot about the series in general because I'm going to do an elimination video joined by the GOAT, and we're going to talk about the series as a whole and Vegas moving forward. So we're going to film that today, later on today, and that'll release either tonight or tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure, but it will be coming, and we'll talk about it. The Minnesota versus Winnipeg game. I predicted this game to go to overtime, and some people in the comments in the last video said, "Oh my God, you were so wrong with all your predictions." Well, technically, yeah, I was wrong, but in the Washington-Columbus game, I said it's going to be extremely close, might go to overtime, and I picked Columbus to win. It did go to overtime, and Washington won, but Columbus could have easily won. So my prediction, even though it was technically wrong, was still pretty close. Minnesota versus Winnipeg, I said that it's going to be a really, really close game, really low-scoring game. Could go to overtime, probably will go to overtime. It almost did go to overtime, so I was close there. And then I predicted LA to win, which obviously they didn't, but I said it was going to be a close game, and it was. So even though I was technically wrong in all three of my predictions, I was close as far as how the games went. Anyways, the Minnesota versus Winnipeg game, Hellebuck, like the save, there was one save where can't remember if it was a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2 or something, but he came across the net laterally to his left and made that glove save. And then I think in the first period there was a pad save with his right pad that he stuck out. It was like, man, he is dialed in. He was dialed in that last game, because the previous game everyone knows what happened. He got lit up. But yesterday it was released that he is a Vezina nomination, so I'm wondering if that boosted his confidence a little bit and helped him out last night. But it was a really good game, and even though Winnipeg won, even though the Winnipeg played good, Minnesota did look really, really good, and the game could have gone the other way, because there was a specific play where Morrissey cross-checked Stahl in the head, and then later on that same shift, it led to a Winnipeg goal. The refs said they didn't see it. I believe that they did see it and didn't call it because it's playoff hockey. That's my personal opinion. I think it should have been called as a penalty. I think it should have been... I don't know if he should have been ejected, but I think he should have gotten a 5-minute major for roughing or cross-checking or whatever. I do believe it's suspension worthy, because if you look at the Kadri hit, he intentionally targeted the head. And Toronto fans, you can argue as much as you want. It's clear that he did. I believe it's the same situation here. I think that he did target Stahl's head with the cross-check. In my mind, it's pretty clear. I mean, the puck is nowhere near them. They're having a little bit of a battle in front of the net, and it's a very blatant cross-check in the side of the head. Like, that can't be allowed. And as of right now, I'm kind of checking my phone all day to see if he does get suspended, because he is having a hearing. It can't be allowed in the NHL. I think they have to suspend him for... Well, based on the Kadri hit, I mean, based on personal opinion, I would guess 1 game, but based on the Kadri hit, probably 2 or maybe 3. But I would give him only 1, in my opinion. It is suspension worthy. I think it was undisciplined, not needed in the game. You don't need to cross-check anyone in the head, especially that hard. So that's tough to see, and it's tough to complain about, because I really like Morrissey on that team. The loss of Parise for Minnesota was, I think, worrisome but not apparent. Like I said, Minnesota did play pretty well that game, even though they lost. They almost put it to overtime. It was really, really close. But the loss of Parise is I think more of a concern for round 2, not round 1. If they make it to round 2, I think they'll start to feel Parise's loss. I think they're still on a bit of an emotional high right now. And when they get that break, if they make it to the second round, that break in between the first and second round, I think they'll have some time to think and realize that they're missing one of their best players, Parise. But they're down 3-1, so chances are they won't even get that opportunity to see how it plays out, unfortunately. The next game is in Winnipeg. So, as we all know, Winnipeg is pretty much the best NHL. They have the best home record in the league. And Minnesota really has a challenging game in Game 5. It's going to be it's going to be a crazy, crazy game based on how the fans are going to react in the arena, because it's the first opportunity that the Winnipeg Jets have got to win a playoff series. So it's going to be absolutely crazy there. Really looking forward to it. No predictions. The Washington versus Columbus game, they started the series. They played Grubauer. They started Grubauer twice. Holtby went in at the end of the second game. Holtby started the third game last night. I really thought that he played tremendous. I thought he was like everywhere on the ice. When he was on his feet, he was good. When he was in the butterfly, he was good. Laterally, when he was moving side to side, he was seeing the puck. It was good. I don't know if it was an emotional game, because he finally got the opportunity to start a game. He was frustrated because he didn't get to start the game 1 and 2, and he's just like, you know what, I'm going to show my worth here. And no goalie has more wins than Holtby in the last 4 years as far as regular season goes. But that doesn't mean anything, because it's the regular season, and Washington's a different team in the playoffs. I really do hope that Washington can win the next game and make this series 2-2. It's a very good series. It's a ton of fun to watch. So the more I can watch this series, the longer it goes, the better for sure. Columbus is in their penalty trouble. I mean, everyone knows that Tortorella is a hothead. And then when his team takes these too many men on the ice penalties, or these silly slashing penalties that aren't needed, you could just see him on the bench just internally losing his mind. And I'm just waiting for the moment that he actually loses his mind and does a typical Tortorella freak out. But they're up 2-1, nothing to worry about. Columbus is playing very good. They could have easily won that game last night. Nothing really to worry about, in my opinion. Bobrovsky was amazing again. How he wasn't in the Vezina conversation is beyond me. I know the team in front of him isn't as good as some other teams, but if you look at Bobrovsky's numbers, it's through the roof. He should have been in the conversation, in my opinion, and he's a former Vezina winner as well. So that's really all I have to say about those 3 games. Oh, sorry, that's not. I missed something. The Washington. Actually, I missed 2 things. I apologize. The Washington power play. What they're doing is, usually Ovechkin will be in his office on the circle, the edge of the circle, and he'll just stand there and he'll wait for his teammates to cycle the puck. The puck will come over to him. He'll one-time it and score a goal. Well, Columbus has caught on to that finally, and they're also noticing that it's not working as well as it did in the regular season, so they've switched things up a bit. I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but I want to talk about it, because if you get the chance to watch the next Columbus-Washington game, I want you to look for it. So what they're doing now is they're putting Oshie in front of the net. They're keeping Ovechkin there as bait, and they're, instead of cycling the puck around and moving it around and eventually to Ovechkin, they're doing the same thing, but instead of throwing it to Ovechkin, they're throwing it back on the side and then quickly to the middle, and Oshie for a one-timer right in front of the net. And it seems to be working pretty good, but although Columbus is just starting to catch on to their antics, so watch for them to try it, and then probably switch back to the Ovechkin original play, to try and play with Columbus a little bit in as far as their intentions go. So watch for that. It's interesting to see teams adjust on the power play and special teams, both defensively in Columbus and offensively in Washington. The other thing I forgot to mention is also the power play in the Minnesota for the Minnesota Wild. It's a fun power play to watch, because most teams have their players generally standing still. Sometimes you'll see the defenseman switch sides. Most teams actually do that, but Minnesota does do it. But I've never seen a team move as much. The next game you watch in Winnipeg, watch the Minnesota Wild. If they get a power play, watch them physically move. All the players will literally do a circle. Like it's pretty cool to see, actually. It's almost like watching synchronized swimming or something. They all kind of move as a hive in one big circle, and they're so good at continuing to move and not moving the puck, but moving their feet, like physically moving their bodies. The defenseman will start on the right side by the blue line, and he'll come all the way around to the opposite side of the ice near the hash marks of the boards, and with the puck, and he'll skate the entire time backwards or sideways along with the puck, and then the rest of the team will move as a hive kind of to cover the position. Then he'll come around and go back to where he was. It's pretty cool to see. I want you guys to watch for it in the next Minnesota Winnipeg game. It's unique for sure. It's unique, and it works. They had a lot of opportunities, a lot of shots. So That's all I have to say for those 3 specific games last night. I will be watching... I think I'm going to watch all the games. There's time conflictions of certain games being on at the same time, so I'm not exactly sure how much of each game I'm going to watch, but I do plan on watching the entire Anaheim San Jose game because it's going to be an elimination game. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be up so late. It's going to be like 3 a.m. I'm going to be a zombie tomorrow, but it'll be worth it. Although I picked Anaheim, obviously I want my predictions to be right as far as the bracket. San Jose is my second favorite team, so really rooting for them tonight to get that series sweep and get lots of rest for the second round. Thank you guys very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Look out for the Vegas eliminating LA video coming up soon. If you are not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you did like this video, hit the like button, and let me know down below your thoughts on the Vegas LA series. Curious to know your thoughts. All right, guys, I'll catch you later. Adios.